Hey, how you doing? I love the Psalms. When I was a hospital chaplain, I would often use them because so many of them are just so raw and so honest a prayer. And too often, the prayers we say to God aren't all that honest. Maybe they're not all that often either, uh, but they're not that honest. And I reminded people in the hospital, God wants to know where you are and who you are. Uh, God doesn't need you to be nice. God can take care of God's self. So I want to read Psalm 40, one of the ones I really like, and I think it's appropriate for this day. Uh, and I hope you'll think about it. God is our refuge and our strength, our very present help in trouble. You know, it's not just a place of refuge where we hide in God, but it's also a place of strength. God says, I want to fortify you. And really good prayer does fortify us. It's not merely a place to hide, uh, although God lets us hide as well. And there's plenty of trouble. And so the first thing I think is, boy, I understand this one. There is a lot of trouble. Now listen to what's next. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth be moved, and though the mountains be toppled into the sea, though the waters rage and foam, and though the mountains tremble in its tumult. Well, earthquakes, fires, hurricanes, floods, not to mention COVID, unemployment. Uh, there's a lot going on. And they've always gone on. And God's always wanted to be there with us. The psalmist continues, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. This is God's promise that God will be with us. And, I don't know about you, but I often pray like, no, God, I need you to just fix it. Would you just do it? But God's promise really is more, I'm with you in the middle of this. You see my son hanging on a cross for something he didn't do? I'll suffer with you. I'll be with you. He said earlier, I'll fortify you. I'll bring you through this. And there is a better day to come. The psalmist continues, there is a river whose stream make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be overthrown. God shall help her at the break of day. Well, obviously, talking about our heavenly Zion, heavenly Jerusalem. But God says at the end of the Bible and the last chapters of Revelation, here's my plan. My plan is to come be with you. And maybe at the end of time that's true, but I always think that God comes to be with us all the time, if we're honest. If we cry out and say, I need your help. I don't like this. I can't handle it. It's amazing how God shows up. God advents in the midst of those times as well. Nations make much ado, and the kingdoms are shaken. God has spoken, and the earth shall melt away. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. I love this. This countries of the world and the people of the world, they make much ado, and they puff up, and they're all kinds of, here's where we are, and we're in charge, and we're better than you, and God sort of looks down, kind of like God probably looked down at Babel and said, what? No, you need me. You're puny. You can bluster all you want, but ultimately, my God, will be done. Come now and look upon the works of the Lord. What awesome things he has done on earth. This is the act of remembering. You know, when we do the Eucharist, Jesus says, do this in remembrance of me. And it's really, he's saying, do this so you don't have amnesia. But you know, memory is a wonderful thing because what I remember and what you remember are different, even if it's the same reality, because I'm remembering from who I am and where I've been and what's going on today. And you remember for who you are and where you've been and what's going on with you today. And memory looks just a little different. And I believe that God tailors that memory to remind us that God's always been with us. And God will be with us now, even in difficult times. And God is waiting for us at the conclusion of these times, whether it's these earthly moments or the end of time. It is God who makes wars to cease in all the world. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear, burns the shields with fire. God says, enough of this silliness, all of this fighting, all of these partisan battles and real battles. He said, my will and my will be done they'll be gone. Be still then and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Be still. Is there any harder command of God than to be still? Especially in the 21st century? But God knows that as long as I'm busy, as long as I'm consuming all kinds of stuff, as long as I worry all the time and my heart and my mind are just occupied with all these things that could be wrong or are wrong or will be wrong, God says, I want you to be silent because I want to speak to you. Now, I want to speak to you who have been formed by reading the Bible and formed by praying and formed by worshiping, but I want to speak to you. I, God, have something to say to your situation right now. But I got to be still. And I don't know about you, but that's hard. And the psalmist ends, the Lord of hosts is with us, the God of Jacob is our stronghold. Is the God of Jacob your stronghold? I hope so. And I hope to see you soon. You know, things are getting a little better, and maybe for some of you, they're not quite there yet. For some of you, they are there. But no, I'm here. I can't wait to see you. Know you're loved.